I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, here we go. Hey, this is us. This is us. Hey, this is us. This is us. This is us. This is got Candice in the house. Danny in the house. Haley in the house.
I love it. And apparently you guys love it too, because we saw the comments and you guys sing along. So
you guys sing along. I love it.
We appreciate it.
I feel like we need to go in the recording studio and just like put on some background tracks.
That could be
and
our
just
sound bite.
That'd be our song coming in.
I think This Is Us might pick that up.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the da-da-da-da going into This Is Us, but I think I like this better.
Or how about like the middle,
Guys, this is going to be a very filled episode of our entertainment, just playing off of each other clearly, but also there was a lot happening. It's episode 14, The Cabin. My name is Candice Cruz. Thanks so much for joining us, and I am joined with the one. I got choked up there. I got all choked up.
I know. Hey
Danny Royce, host of the one and only Inside the Black Actor Studio.
What's good? How we doing?
And can we drum roll? The birthday girl, Haley Gray.
There we go.
Hey, everybody.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. And
We missed the snaps, but we almost got it.
Thanks, guys. Happy to join you on the birthday night. Big 2-6.
Whoa, there it is again. Okay, guys, before we lose our minds in this episode, because clearly we had all the emotions in the feels, what were your overall thoughts of the episode?
I actually enjoyed this episode.
Me too.
Like we had about the same feelings last episode.
Yeah.
It was good, but not much happened. But this episode, I mean, they brought it. It was emotions. It was secrets being shared. You saw what happened between Marc and Kate, and Toby had his own thing. I think it was just like it was a well-rounded episode.
I would completely have to agree. I think this episode for me was definitely one of the OG This Is Us episodes that really pulled at the heartstrings, got in deep, and really talked about some serious stuff, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
I did too. They brought it just for you, Haley, for your birthday. They're like, we're going to give the good episode.
Right.
Honestly, I felt like the old This Is Us is back.
Yeah.
Like we had the flash forwards, we had the flashbacks. There was so much balance. There wasn't like an overarching like focus on one issue. Like they were brought up, but brought up in the best way possible rather than like, we're going to really hit you hard, but not really.
Yeah.
I'd rather them like do this type of stuff. So it was great. We're going to break down tonight's episode by the cabin situation with Teen Kate and Marc, which all of us are in our feels about that one. And then we're going to hit the adults at the cabin, which is where the juicy bits happen. And there's so much that went down. I don't know.
Can you say that again?
No, I will never say that again. We're going to do that. And then we're going to obviously go into our special segment, which is our tearjerker moments, which we've got a twist for you on that one. They know what I'm talking about. And then our news and gossip and predictions. So let's take it away with the teen cabin. I was going to say news. Sorry, we're done. Over.
Wrap it
up. Teen cabin, Kate and Marc. We've been waiting for this moment for so long. Did it own up to your expectations or did it disappoint you?
I'll let you go with that one first.
I would say that I think it held up. We knew something traumatic was gonna happen, and I definitely thought it was gonna be more centered around her weight, in which we did hear his one jab that he really got in at Kate at the cabin. But for me, I thought that it was going to be more focused around that instead of just like the overall just kind of like emotional abuse that he put her through. And like I really felt it, because to be that young and to have someone tell you they love you for the first time and to really have that recognition and that validation as like a young woman, to have I guess in this case kind of a young man look at you in that way, like that person kind of holds tighter on your heart than like relationships afterwards. And so like I definitely felt for Kate, and I get kind of where she comes from like a man perspective now.
I have to admit, throughout this whole thing, I thought it was going to be lead to some physical abuse, which could have happened. They just didn't show it. However, I loved how they they didn't make it about that, and they made it about verbal and emotional abuse, which is something that people don't take seriously. When they think of abuse, they just think of people hitting each other, but that's not the case at all. A lot of times, verbal is worse than hitting. But I was really happy when they came to her rescue, and I was like, get that mother, and I felt like my sister was Kate, and I would feel very protective of her, and even though she's my older sister, like us three boys, we always ride or die, for our sister, and so I liked how they played it out. I really enjoyed the roundness of it, and I loved when Rebecca told him to get out, and I was like, why are you still standing there? Did anybody else say that?
I thought he was about to clap back.
I thought he was too.
Yeah.
I think he was about to.
I think he was going to.
He was going to, but he was like,
4 against 1.
Yeah. Like,
4 against 1.
Maybe 3.5 against 1.
Yeah.
Kate was still kind of torn.
She was like, I completely agree. I think that when it comes to like verbal abuse, sometimes they have longer lasting effects.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes it just depends. Like there's so many different cases, so we're not trying to like say one is worse than the other. But what I do know is that it's clearly still had its effect on Kate. Like it really digs deep and it goes into your subconscious that you don't realize it's still there. It never goes away at that point. When it's someone that says that they love you, that she just lost her dad, then like this is the one guy that's paying attention to her, and she's never had that type of attention. Like she would do anything to make sure that he still gives her that attention. And also I don't know if you guys caught this, I do think that she was playing it smart after the car situation.
Yes,
I think she was playing it safe, and I think she was being a survivor and figuring out, okay, I've been left on the side of the road. It's freezing. I don't want my mom to know about this, so let me just get through this to get home.
Yeah.
Okay, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, I definitely see that. She became more aware,
Very,
I believe. She's like, what else is he capable of? But yet, it's still that thought of like, he loves me, and I want this to work. And I mean, you saw her fight for him to the end. He told the truth, which was like, I didn't expect that.
I didn't either.
I kind of did, only because he kind of almost said it in like a smart way.
In like a nonchalant kind of like.
Like he was like trying, like he was just kind of like, hey, this is what happened. It wasn't a big deal, but in reality it was. It just
like,
kind of
what?
almost saw like how really, I guess, like removed from the situation he really was from an emotional standpoint. And like the other thing I found really interesting about this situation for me was they're kind of making right now Randall and his attention to detail be a negative thing. And like those are kind of always been signs of his anxiety.
Yeah.
But in this situation, it kind of reflected what he's doing now with their mom, and that he was the first one to pick up on all the little nuances that their mom was doing as far as forgetting her memory. Well, this was the same situation, but with Kate, he was the one who immediately picked up on everything in their surroundings to know what was like, to connect the dots of what was actually going on.
Right.
So it was interesting to see how the way he is actually can also be a positive thing for him too.
100%. He's such a protector.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
he definitely, that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
And I loved Rebecca in this part much because like we already know that she's a fierce mama bear, but I don't think we've ever seen her put her claws out, or we haven't seen her in a while because we saw her put the claws out when Jack had the drinking problem a while back, like season 1. OG, This Is Us. This is the first time where we've seen her put her claws out after Jack has died, and like, don't mess with my children, don't mess with my baby girl, don't do it. And I just, the way she held her composure, and she's like,
it was very,
calm the boys down too, because I kind of wanted those boys to just like rip him.
after him.
Yeah, they would have
Let him go.
got it.
Let him go, mama.
And it was almost refreshing too, because they've kind of started to portray Rebecca as being fragile, and to see and be reminded of actually how fierce and tough she was in at a point where their family was in a fragile state, and that she was kind of their rock. It was good as a viewer to just be reminded of the magnificent Rebecca as she is, not as to kind of where she's going right now. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Plus, if they would have hit him, he'd probably been able to press charges, and then there's a whole.
Yeah. Let's not
do that. Let's not do that. But you know what's something that you should do?
You should definitely do it. Thank you so much,
You should
Tori.
definitely do it.
That was a great segue. Thank you so much.
I lobbed it up and you hit it.
I'm trying to tell them something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching us every week. Come in and talk about one of our favorite shows, This Is Us. We see the comments, we see the likes, we see the the sing-alongs of the theme song. So we thank you so much for showing us all the love. You know, we are here. We got a lot more shows, after shows on our drama sci-fi channel. So be sure to tune in. Hit like, those thumbs up, share, comment, all that good stuff. We're on Spotify, iTunes. Go ahead and get those 5 stars if you're nasty. And
What?
and we appreciate you so much. We love you, and thank you for allowing us to be the ESPN of TV Talk.
You realize
We sure are.
This Is Us after show, right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, I kind of want you guys, while you were saying that, I was like, you know what would be really cool? Well, yeah. Is you guys do like a challenge of like everybody doing the sing along and like send us a video.
That'd be dope.
How cool would that be?
And yeah, the winners, we will definitely shout you out and show you some love. And we might have something else for you. Who knows?
We can maybe do a call-in.
Ooh, I love
We can
this.
do
These
all
are great
kinds of
ideas.
things.
Yeah.
Great ideas. If you got whoever wants to take it upon themselves and do it, have at it.
Yep.
Yes. Also, we should probably get this out right now. If you're watching in the comments, we would love to know what you would put in your time capsule, so you have time to think about it when we get to that subject.
Yeah.
And you
Got
guys can think
time
about-
on the nose to
Right.
think about it. But
Think about it. Okay.
so, adults in the cabin
Oh.
is how I titled it on our notes. Adults in the cabin.
The big 3.
The big 3.
The sad
Big,
3.
yeah, the big sad 3.
So there's a lot that happened. We're just gonna like word vomit it all
Yeah.
and hit it all because that was the main issue. So they get there's no power.
Right.
Yep, because of the storm.
Right.
Everybody's just like, yep, yep. There is not.
That is what happened.
That's what happened. So
Lady Moore.
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna go from there. So they went to
Do you want
this.
my thoughts on the power being out?
It led to them going to the store and everything
Oh my God, I
going
can't.
from there.
Yeah.
So Keven, Madison, Kate fiasco came out
Right.
at the store. And I love that also Kate and I have matching phone cases.
Hey.
I
Oh
noticed
my
it the whole
God.
time. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
she has my phone. The same exact phone. She's like, Keven, I got a message from Madison.
Right.
Is there something I should know? Oh, that's weird. And then she left me another one. Oh, and a third one.
3.
I'm sorry, girls or guys,
Yep.
Can't.
do not ever one and done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be done.
Right.
Be done. You just wait.
But we know Madison is a little different.
She's
You
a little
think she
neurotic.
also said what was the line that she said in bed whenever you were bringing it up?
Oh,
Yeah.
whenever he asked her, and she was like, "Oh no, you mean tell her that we're falling madly
Falling
in
madly in
love?"
love, yeah.
He was like,
He's like,
"Are you serious?"
like that's
And
scary
also,
enough. Right?
Yeah.
we haven't been on a date yet.
Yet,
Yet.
she did say that. I
Yet,
don't know how
full
many people
stop.
noticed it.
Period.
Yep, we haven't even been on a date
Yet.
yet.
Right.
There is a reason the
She's-
writers threw in.
Oh, yeah.
The
yet.
yet.
And the in love part.
Yes.
Freudian slip too, y'all.
Yeah.
She wants to go on a date.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
And also the way that she was alluding about like I broke girl code, like all this
Yes.
other stuff. Like
Yeah.
all she had to do was be like, cool, thanks for last night, bye. Like
Yep.
don't tell your sister.
No, she for sure was testing him to see how he wanted
yeah.
to handle
Oh,
the
yeah.
situation.
Of
So by
course.
setting it up kind of like that, like, oh, I broke girl code, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Right.
she was trying to wait to see if he was like, no, I think we should tell Kate, because
Yeah.
she would have flipped her script. She would have been like, you're right, we need to tell her. That's what's best to do. But instead, he was just kind of like, oh.
But I mean,
back
they
out.
both agreed not to tell it, and I'm just like,
Okay, but Madison did not mean that.
Of course
no,
not.
it just- it's-
She did
Also,
not
I
mean
love
that.
the way he woke her up.
right.
Yeah.
Like, so sorry.
She's still
oh,
here.
you're awake?
She's still
Yeah.
here. Okay.
In her own home. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Like,
But yeah,
crazy.
that was an interesting situation. I don't know. Did Kate seem mad to you though? Like, she
didn't-
seemed
I didn't-
frustrated, but not like.
Yeah, I think at first, I mean, it's kind of like, can't you just find someone else that I don't know, you know, because they're like besties. So, but I think after everything else that came about, like, you know, with Rebecca and all that stuff, she's like, that's not really important right now. And plus she's got Lil Jack on her mind with Toby, like that's a whole different thing.
I agree. But I think that anger maybe kind of came more of a place of like, can't you just let me have something of my own? You know, because I feel like their whole lives, like he was always trying to outshine just everyone or trying to like be seen in their family, and she always just kind of was like the wallflower, and especially in this situation, like it was just kind of like, bruh, she's literally my one friend.
Right.
Can't I like have her?
Can't that just be
because if things go awry,
exactly,
you know how that goes downhill. So like she's already playing that in her head.
Yeah,
too,
like she's gonna have to choose friendship or brother. And let's be honest, she's gonna choose brother.
Of course, absolutely. But you know what? I also feel for Kate too, and she's probably just projecting with like the Toby and Jack thing, as you guys were saying. I thought it was so adorable though with Toby and Jack. Like I'm so glad that it went well, because the way that they set it up last week, I was like, oh God, something bad's gonna happen.
Something was gonna happen,
and like it's all going to go awry. But I really enjoyed the little like situation. But also, y'all need to know what to happen with the baby.
Right.
If the baby's choking, you didn't know what to do.
I was like, because I'm AED certified, so I was just like coaching Toby. I'm like, okay, do that.
Do this.
Put the
Get
little
it
back
out.
on the head. Turn him on his. I was like, don't turn him on his back.
Like you kept laying him backwards. I'm like, you're lodging it further in his throat. What are you doing?
But,
we're both like narrating it.
It's something that we were both like, we're all rooting for you. No, I think it was something definitely that Toby needed to go through, because it brought, not only did it bring them closer, but he's like, I can do this now, you know?
At the expense of poor baby Jack and his airway.
I know. Well, but then they had Star Wars playtime.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Cool.
I think it was definitely a situation where like Kate has been such an extraordinary mother that she hasn't even allowed. I think this whole situation was just exactly everything Toby was saying. Like, give me time with my son. Like, he hasn't even really had a moment to even attempt to be a father or have paternal feelings towards his son, because Kate's been there doing everything. And which makes sense. Like, Kate has been at home. You know, Toby works. He goes to the gym, all of these things. But I think it's just a really important factor for us all to realize how, those crucial moments that not only for the mother, but also for the father to make with the child. And I thought it was super special the way they did it, because you could tell the minute he was choking, it clicked for Toby how much he cared about Jack as his son. And then especially taking him to the doctor, and then again with the Star Wars scene. Like
Star
that was,
Wars.
I love the way they wrote it in, because they flipped it from, all he kept talking about was he wanted his son to watch Star Wars with, but instead he realized, wow, Star Wars actually has an amazing soundtrack, and I can share this with my son. And I was like,
and the
perfect.
sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we both teared up during that moment, because it was so precious. And
it was.
Like you said, too, it is something that I think a lot of people forget, is that men don't automatically have paternal instincts necessarily. Like a mother, once you give birth, there's like hormones and everything that are released. You do have to give time to the father to like bond with the baby. And I thought it was beautiful. And I'm really glad he did not call Kate at all the entire time. That I was very happy with.
That would not have gone well.
In the chat here, we have Jess Sheldon saying, I think Kate is going to find out about the doctor appointment about his choking.
Yes. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And I hope that Toby addresses it when she gets home.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than like her finding out at the doctor. Then things are going to blow up again.
I was like, but let's be honest, given how the show's been going with the two of them, she for sure is finding out at the doctor. At the vaccines the next week.
Oh my God.
I don't know if he's going to tell her. I mean, I would hope so, but I don't know.
He'd be dumb not to.
No, I don't think, because Toby in this situation has been like almost prideful in a sense. So I think it's going to be very much more of him kind of wanting to prove and show Kate, like, hey, I did this, I got this, and not tell her about his slip up, because that's not what she needs to know. She just needs to know that he could be the father and the man that she wants and needed, and and I think that I don't think he's gonna tell her.
Yeah, I don't
that
think so
ego
either.
will get you every time. Yeah, every time. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Me too.
Because I do have predictions on the relationship.
But I did like also the line that they threw in when they were doing the Star Wars part, when he was talking about Princess Leia, and he was like, "She's the coolest lady, aside from your mom."
Oh,
you know?
I thought it was cute.
And so I was like, okay, like that gave me a slight hope about Kobe I'm Kobe.
Kobe.
Toby.
Kobe.
They
Call
are.
them
They're
that.
Kobe.
Kate and Toby.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Kobe.
K-O-B-Y.
I had an
Love it.
ex-boyfriend named that. But anyways, so we
Shout out to Kobe now.
we like they definitely like it gave me hope for them.
You're gonna have to take this next topic of Randall and Beth because I can't. Oh.
Yeah, so let's talk about
Yeah, sorry,
Randall
guys.
and Beth.
Well, it was a very short blip of Randall and Beth.
It was very
But
short.
I think it did lead up to obviously Randall's situation.
Yeah, I was like, it was more so. I feel like the non-presence of Beth, and when we saw
It was a
Randall
lie.
in the market,
That was a
Yes.
lie.
and the fact that just because he couldn't get a hold of them, that they were in a
Spiral.
They were in a movie,
Right.
like.
Oh, they're in the
Oh
movie.
my
He's like, I gotta
gosh.
go back to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy.
But I do think, like, here's the thing. When we're talking about anxiety, and I know that they've been hitting us over the head with his anxiety and
They
depression,
have been.
but I think this episode was the best I've seen them demonstrate it without
Yes.
having to address it too much.
Right.
Agreed.
Like, that is what happens when you have anxiety. You spiral, and you see people get elevated
Yeah.
and they can't catch their breath and they're
Hyperventilating.
hyperventilating and they're just very on edge and anxious, and you can tell it, and I'd much rather see those effects.
Yeah.
Like, let Sterling K. Brown do his job because he is a phenomenal actor.
Facts.
Like, let him do
Yes.
that rather than saying, you have anxiety, we get it.
Yeah.
We know he does.
Right.
Just let him like show it.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a beautiful way of demonstrating that, and like even to the attention of detail that you brought up earlier. I think it all has its ebbs and flows. Like,
Yeah.
if he didn't have that attention to detail,
Yeah.
what do you have is bad anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's like you got to level it out.
Right.
But I thought that Randall and the conversation that ensued went a lot better than I expected
Yeah.
at the cabin.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like they were respecting Rebecca's wishes. I mean,
Right.
you can't really be mad at them. And Kevin did have his little, which is
Hissy
normal.
fit.
Is, yeah, which is
Which he
normal.
needed.
He
Yeah.
needed it,
He's been doing that literally his whole life.
Right.
But this one, I think it was well
This one
earned.
was
Yes.
earned.
Very
Yes.
earned.
Because you would definitely feel betrayed if your siblings knew and you had no idea. But
Well, and I think it was just the news in itself.
The news in
overwhelmed
itself, of
him. So the
course.
fact that they didn't tell him was, yes, a piece of it, but just the
Both.
news in itself, like both
A
Kate
lot.
and Randall have had time to digest this and kind of be a part of the process, whereas Kevin, it just got thrown on
Kevin
him.
just got thrown on,
Yeah.
and the fact that why didn't my mom tell me?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that would be, because I definitely compared myself to in that situation as far as like when my parents got divorced. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't understand it, and so when I found out, I was like, oh, everyone else knew, and I didn't. It just you kind of get that feeling of betrayal. But I'm like, there's no way you could be mad at Kate or Randall.
No, and I think too, like, it brings up a good point. Is like, I think he's gonna go in even more introspection because he's like, okay, why is it she didn't feel
Why?
comfortable
Exactly.
telling me? Because she clearly told both of them. If she wouldn't have told Kate, then that's one thing.
Yeah.
She really just wanted to keep it with Randall because he's the one that figured it out, and they both found out. But if she's already told Kate and is specifically not telling one of her children, like, I would be pissed too.
Well, see, no,
Right.
but I think he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think it is that she has and still views him as being fragile, and
Of
I
course.
think that
Oh, yeah.
she was still being protective mom, and that she didn't want to be the reason that potentially Kevin relapses, know, and he's been doing so well. Like, I don't think she wants to be the burden that puts him back steps.
Right.
You
But
know, when
sometimes
he's
we
made
have to
so much
trust
growth.
them too.
No,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that he self-reflected very quickly to realize, like, she doesn't think I'm strong enough to handle this, and that's why she didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And which is like, that in itself would be horrible, like a horrible realization to have, because you
Right.
think internally you've made all these strides and all these steps and you've grown so much, and you think that your family of all people would see that in you and believe in you, and then when it comes down to it, they still don't. They see you still as a fragile individual. Like, that would put me personally back steps, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, and we'll talk about it in predictions as well, because I think that this is just the beginning of a really big conversation between the three of them, and just because in general, like when it comes to the care of a loved one and how things ensue from there, like to see the three of them try and figure out like this is the like, because Keven automatically was like, I'll get the best doctors, I'll do all this, and Randall's like, already did it, and he's like, but I was just with her. Well, I saw the signs. Well, I didn't. Yeah. So, like, that alone right there between the two of them means they're projecting each other on each other, and it's just going to be catastrophic.
And it's almost parallel because when we saw them kind of going at each other in the car about Keven not being around, Keven not noticing things, and I really think that this whole thing is going to funnel down deeper to the point of when Jack died and Rebecca was there, Randall was the one there. Randall was the one picking up the pieces. Randall was the one, remember, he went and spoke to the boss to help her get a job. Like, Randall was the one who noticed all these things and was there. And I think it's ultimately going to stem down to Randall feeling like Keven has never almost, like, picked up his weight in their family.
Yeah. Well, he never had to, though. Like, you know, and it's interesting because...
He moved away, too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But it was like... in the previews, if you guys did see the previews, obviously Randall does go to therapy, and he says this family would have fallen apart without me. Yeah. And the therapist switches it back on him, saying, "Would it?"
Yes.
I think that Keven would have stepped up. Everybody will step up if they're needed. Like, nothing will fall apart if you're not there. Not to say that you're not important, but you have to remember to, like, take yourself out of it. And I think that that's something that, like, Randall never let Keven take the reins on, you know?
Randall, like, he held everything on his... He did do a lot for the family, but he also took it upon himself to do that, which led to more of his anxiety.
And by doing that, and not allowing people to help him, then that just becomes the pattern, and that's just what you become accustomed to and used to. Because I can even say I'm at fault of this when in like my life I tend to I have a hard time letting people help me, and like I have a hard time asking for help. And so it's in the same way with Randall. I think that he just took on this role even at a young age, and he just always felt like, because remember, wasn't it Jack who always was like, Randall, you're going to be the man, like, of the family. Like, Randall, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. Like, you need to be strong. You need to not let them see emotion. And I think Jack really instilled that in him at a young age, too.
Yeah. I think part, like, as parents, they don't necessarily know what they're putting on their children when they're young, and it just kind of comes up from there. But I did find the conversation around Jack in this episode very heartwarming. That was the traditional "This Is Us" for me.
For sure.
Was the time capsule. So you guys, I hope you've been thinking about what you'd put in your time capsule. Do we have some answers?
So Ellen, she has said, my time capsule item, home movies of my mom and I. My mom passed away in 2016 when I was 20 and almost finished college. So it's been nearly 4 years, and I miss her a lot. And I do agree with you on Tao's Girls. Ellen, I'm sure she would be very, very proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen, for sharing.
That was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's beautiful.
I think so. On a lighthearted note, that I can remember, so this gave me like really good flashbacks in my life. When I was in 3rd grade, our teacher made us do this. We filled out this piece of this form. We did, it was like height, weight, all your favorite things, your favorite colors, foods, whatever, and then we put them away in the cabinet. And then at the end of the year, we brought them all back and could see how much we changed within the time frame of a school year. And I've never forgotten that. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing to see how much you change in just over that course of the time.
You know what some schools should do is do like kindergarten, and then they dig it up a senior year.
I feel like some people probably do.
I'm sure.
Like, that was like a One Tree Hill thing.
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, that's cool.
I think we buried ours in grade school, I think. So it was like
I don't think we ever got to do one.
Maybe you should do it now.
I have a baby box. It's kind of like a time capsule.
I wish I had like something like did it when you were like 6 or 7.
Yeah, when you're young.
And then now.
What would you have put in it if you were 6 or 7?
I don't even know.
You? Do you know?
Action
something Texas A&M related in cheerleading.
When you were that little?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yes, girl.
For sure. It's been to me to my core. But I will say, we almost live in an era that we kind of have a time capsule at our fingertips.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's even crazy to think. So obviously, today being my birthday, I've done just a lot of self-reflection over not just the past year of where I've come from like being 25 to today, but also, you know, you get on your phone and on Instagram, you go to a little archive button, and literally the post was from 5 years ago when I turned 21.
Right.
And so it's like in itself, we have our own like time capsule.
I probably definitely would have wrote myself a note because I wrote a lot back then, poems and stuff.
When you were
so I
6 and 7?
Yeah.
I wrote my first song when
writing
I was 6.
Yeah.
That's really cool, guys.
Yeah.
I
Artist.
didn't. I read it.
Ew.
We're crazy.
But this time capsule, obviously, This Is Us time capsule.
Yep.
It was so nice.
So
So,
beautiful.
yeah,
And I
it's
felt
nice.
like they did a great job on each of them on like what their characters would have done. Obviously,
Yes.
Sophie
Yeah.
photo, MASH, which I loved playing when I was a kid.
Yeah. MASH was amazing.
And did you guys
me
do the
too.
cootie
I did all the
catcher
time.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
like,
Yep.
how do you do the there you go.
Yeah, it was like
The origami.
this.
Yes. Those were fun. And none of us can do the hand. You can do the hand motions. I need the thing to do it.
Out in, out.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, guys.
Yes.
Also, Obsessed Fangirl, gonna give them a shout out. Set a USB with photos, videos, memory songs, anything I could think of.
What if a
Yeah.
USB doesn't work in the future?
Oh.
Just saying, because
Put it on
now the
CD.
new MacBooks don't even have like
I
a
know.
USB
Right.
plug-in.
And they had just
do
like
that.
cassette tape
This-
and just
Yeah.
a cassette player
Oh,
laying
yeah.
around. I was like, I haven't
the
seen a
fact that
cassette
they
Hold on
just,
to
player.
those old computers,
The fact
guy.
they could just whip that out, they were
Right.
like, oh, we know where this is.
I haven't seen a cassette
Right.
player in a while.
Oh, I loved my cassette. But I love that they did that. And then what was it? The puzzle piece.
The puzzle piece,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the tape from Jack.
Yeah, the
though.
tape.
See, almost before we get to the tape from Jack, I loved the moment between Randall and Kevin,
Kevin,
and the
yeah.
fact of the puzzle piece
Yes.
and like just how they're slowly like peeling back these layers of their relationship that is ultimately going to end up leading to kind of whatever explosion ends up happening between the two of them to force them not to be speaking on their 40th birthday.
Right.
But yes, I just like loved that. The fact that it was like Kevin just did it so nonchalantly and like whatever, but it meant so much to Randall.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was cute. That was a nice touch.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, like, obviously, Jack hit the nail on the head with the message
Yes.
saying, like, Katie is spending so much time on it, and then
Pouring her
Kevin's
heart
doesn't
into it.
care,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Randall's overthinking it.
Yep.
But that moment with the sketch,
Yeah.
though, was so beautiful. And obviously, when he's drawing the sketch and she looks at it, I was like, that's going to be Kevin's house.
Yeah, it's Kevin,
Yeah.
yep.
Like, I mean, I love that they foreshadowed it, but, like, that was just like, here you go.
Yeah, it's like all the scenes that it was like, oh, him longingly looking over in the distance. Oh, him longingly looking again.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
one more
longingly.
time. One more time while staring at
In
it.
case you didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's going to be built.
Yes.
And it was built, and it's beautiful. If anybody knows where
Yes.
this actual house is, like, let me know.
Facts. And the fact he pulled up like in that car, I was like,
Right.
Oh,
okay, well, we know
and
Kevin
he
does
looks
well for himself.
great, salt and pepper. Just
Yes.
saying. He looks so good. I said that to you. I looked at Haley and I was like, he looks good.
Yeah.
They're good. So,
All right. Well, guys, we could talk for even longer about this
Yep.
particular episode because it did have so much, which I really enjoyed. But we have to get to our special segment before we go into our news and gossip and predictions. And our special segment has a bit of a twist.
Hey!
Cheers, okay, toilet paper.
So we're
So
going
Paris,
to see how
Paris
many.
is not here.
Yeah, Karis is not here, so we're gonna explain how many plies you want to do on this dinner.
What is heartwarming in
Yeah.
an all moment? And 5, 1, 2,
Blow a hole
3,
through
4,
this.
5. Is you're sobbing
God.
hysterically. Also, y'all, this tissue paper, like
Right.
I can see through it.
So I'm
I don't
saying,
want
you can blow a
to.
hole
I don't
through
want to
that.
use this. But okay, anybody like to start? Birthday girl.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
you
birthday
start.
girl.
You tore your 5.
Yeah, are you really doing 5?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't.
I am doing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh.
Ah! Honestly, guys, today has been a day for me, so I was already super emotional, but this particular episode, it was the tape recorder. And I think because of Jack being gone and like they're already dealing with their mother getting ready to lose her memory and all of the things that come from that, I think it was just a moment for the three of them to just sit there. And I have like voice memos from certain people that are like gone now,
Yeah.
and it just like it gives you all the feels and the goosebumps, but it's the most like heartwarming and like comforting feeling in the world. And to just see all three of them crying over it, and obviously Jack didn't know what was going to happen at that point.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's kind of like a moment in time.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful. I did cry a lot with that. I had the one single
Yeah.
tear go down the cheek. So 5.
Good.
All right, mine, I could give the end, again, the tape recorder, because I was right there with you. I could give that one, but I'm going to let you own that one. So I almost had like another, like, I had like 3 one tissue moments. So one of my moments was for sure with Kate, because I too have been in a really verbally abusive relationship. So I completely could resonate with Kate, and I knew how she felt. And except she had family support, which is a lot different than my situation. So that was really just like, it was just emotional for me to see that. The next one was when Toby and Jack were doing Star Wars. And then I held on to the last one for the puzzle piece.
You're just stealing everything.
All the good ones. How many plies you taking?
Right. It's like, how many plies are like right before you cry? What is that?
4.
2?
Or
4?
3.5.
Yeah,
Let's do
4, 3.
Let's do 3.5, I guess. My moment. No, I'm just kidding. So at the very, very end, when they held it on the sketch, that was my moment.
That was good.
When they were saying like, let's go. Rebecca's in there. One's with Rebecca. Obviously, she's very ill at this moment. I have a lot of like memories and experience with dementia, Alzheimer's, and all that. So it just kind of really hit me there. And then just seeing the sketch live on, it was like, wow.
It was
I
cool.
love it.
So,
Oh my gosh.
This was such a good episode.
It was so
was.
good. Also, we only have a few minutes left. So let's hit the news and gossip real quick before we go into predictions, or do we not have our
I'm
news?
like, we can. News and gossip was super simple. We're just going to give y'all a fun little video that Sterling K. Brown is taking over TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
He's
Hey.
doing such a good job. So
No video.
they did a great little dance,
Yep.
and we were loving it. So make sure you just go check him out
Check
on
him
TikTok.
out. Follow him.
Yes.
He
Yep.
is killing
What was it? We did the whole like hips and
It was
turn to the
like-
It
left.
was like that.
Clearly, we need the
Something-
music
something we
here,
tried, we
and
tried.
they do it way
We tried.
better. But that was our news and
Definitely
gossip for
need
you
to
tried.
today.
We tried.
We tried.
Today, predictions really quickly.
Go ahead.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm just staying true to the one that I always say because I really hope it happens. But I didn't even speak it into existence. Sophie and
gosh.
Kevin are still gonna be together.
Randall's going to therapy, and he's gonna find out that he has been really hard on himself, and he didn't need to be. Also, Kate is gonna find out about Jack, and that's gonna blow up.
Yep.
This is my face to the Sophie and Kevin. I don't like it. Yeah, same. I think I hope that we get more future stuff.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so because I'm really excited for that storyline. I think it's going to be really
Emotional.
emotional and good, and I'm going to need a
he's
lot more of these
preparing.
plies. He's preparing for it. And then I also think that the big blow up has got to happen within the next 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's going to be this week because it's going to probably be heavily centered on Randall and therapy, but I do feel like it may be the week after because we are getting close to the end of This Is Us.
Right.
Season 4.
One more season.
Yep.
One more season. I thought it was 6. Is it only 5?
They greenlit 5.
They greenlit 5. Guys, that also means in the sad way, it's a silver lining, is that we get to know what happens faster,
Right. Yeah.
which is great.
Facts.
So thank you guys so much for joining us every single week. We love you so much. You're great in the comments and all of your chiming in every single week. So please keep doing that. You can follow all of us on our social media. My name is Candice Cruz. You can find me on all my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
And you can find me everywhere at I Am Danny Royce. Also, tune in this Thursday, a new episode of Inside the Black Actor Studio.
There you go. And you can follow me on Instagram at Haley Graves with 2 S's. That's HALEYGRAVESS. And on Twitter, Haley1 Graves 2. Send us your videos. We want to see them.
And
Yes.
go wish Haley
Yeah.
happy birthday!
Happy
Yay! We'll see you guys next week.
Toilet paper.
Bye.
Kiss you everywhere.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners.